Am I the a-hole for going nuclear and publicly cutting out two of my friends? I will try to make this as short as possible but have to explain a lot too, so here we go. My BFF, Sam, and I have been besties for over a decade, and thus I have known him pre-transition. He didn't live in the city I did until about 4 years ago, but when he moved I helped him get a job, make friends, etc. Some think he is my boyfriend of a year. The truth is a bit more complicated. 2 years ago I got out of a very abusive relationship, and when I was on the market, I got swarmed a bit with being asked out by casual acquaintances. Sam posed as my boyfriend to get an especially pushy guy away from me at a bar we are both regulars at, and we kept it going because, 1. He gets pressured by his coworkers and mentors that he is a catch and should date, but he hasn't felt ready, and 2. So I can have some peace as I focus on my therapy and healing from my past relationship. Note: our best friend group knows that Sam and I are not really a couple. Another guy like that was Mal, another friend in the group. He asked me out around 4 or 5 months after my breakup. I explained that I needed at least a 2-year break from dating to focus on continued therapy, working through my trauma, and take time to focus on me and what I want and all that jazz. He said he understood, and not even 2 months after that we found out that Mal and another of the group were a couple, and now they are engaged. Mal has been a friend for maybe 3 or 4 years. We were never especially close, and I always just viewed him as a member of our 6-person friend group. We only ever hang out with the group and never one-on-one. I guess I am saying this all to say Mal's sort of the Flash to my Batman. We get on well when with the other super friends, but don't expect too many duo team-ups. At a party at my place where many of our co-workers and bosses were present, Sam's boss pointed to me and Sam saying something about how he can't wait for us to settle down and have kids, saying, "Come on, Sam. What are you waiting for, man?" And Mal snorts and clearly muttered, "Man," very incredulously, and said, "Yeah, if you want to call Samantha, man, that's on you." At first our friends thought it was a supernatural joke, as a lot of us love the show. The character is named Sam, and another character calls him Samantha to emasculate him. But then Mal declared that Sam is actually a woman, and provided proof by way of pictures of Sam pre-transition. Mal then made comments about me that I must be a lesbian, I am bi, and that Sam and us must be actually a real couple and sleeping together. He was kicked out of my home. Now being outed as a trans man at work caused a lot of drama, and Sam was depressed and has stayed with me for a better part of a month. He didn't eat much and lost a ton of weight, almost never left the house, especially not alone unless to go to work, and has been saying very self-loathing morbid things here and there. I've been really worried about him. I won't lie, I was furious. I'm not an overly confrontational person and am a recovering doormat, but this made my whole being boil. I have been focused on being attentive to Sam and trying to channel my angst, anger, and ire into productive things. But the friend group is a bit complicated, as most think Mal is a dick for outing Sam, but some also think Sam is a jerk for not being honest with them. So here's where I am probably an a-hole. I texted Mal and Mal's fiancée, our mutual friend in the group, Michaela, and said that Mal isn't welcome at my home for the foreseeable future, and after that is really up to Mal's actions and Sam's ability to forgive such things. But she defended him, saying that Mal was just upset that Sam hid that he was really a trans all along and now felt uncomfortable, and that Sam should have said something at least to our group before joining outings like swimming, in which the men change in the men's locker room and the women in the women's, etc. She says she feels hurt that another woman saw Mal undressing, and it devolved from there. In this group we all work in the same type of industry but in different departments essentially, and mostly different companies. We're always a bit adjacent to one another in our careers though. That is a lot to say. Everyone here usually makes at least okay money, and we all know each other's co-workers and the like. I got a call from another friend, Peter, who is hiring right now for a senior position, and he said Mal had applied for it. Peter is essentially already above Mal, as Peter is the boss of Mal's current boss. Mal had put me down as a reference, which in our group we do frequently when applying. Peter was content to use the same letter of recommendation I had sent before when Mal applied for his current position, but wanted to cover all the bases, and I told him that I no longer see Mal as an ethical, responsible, or suitable candidate in our field, given that he seems to be bigoted towards queer folk, and I, as a queer woman, no longer trust him and would not want to work with him if I had any say in it. Peter was quiet and asked what caused the change, and I didn't tell him, just saying recent events have caused me to reassess. This was perhaps a week ago. Well, a few hours ago, Michaela came over to my place and was pissed. She told me that Mal is getting grilled at work, that HR combed his social media and has brought up posts of his, and are now considering disciplinary actions with him, and she says she knows it's me. She says Sam literally doesn't have the balls to call the company, so it had to be me. She seemed to think I had a crush on Mal, and he turned me down, and thus I was jealous of her and trying to ruin their lives. She called me desperate and degenerate. I snapped and asked her to leave. She then texted me the same argument she had before, and I reiterated over text that I don't want to speak to her or Mal ever again. I screenshotted all of this and sent it to our friend group chat and left the chat. Now I am getting messages from almost everyone asking what's happening, but also that I am going nuclear and went too far. I texted Sam and Sam says he is not ready to deal with the friend group right now, so I can do what I think is right and he will regroup and come back to it when he has the bandwidth. Did I go too far in involving everyone? Am I the a-hole for going nuclear? Update 1. A little under a month ago, I posted about an ongoing issue. My best friend Sam was outed as a transman publicly by our former mutual friend Mal applied for a job before all this and used us as references, and I said that I don't find him to be trustworthy, nor would I want to work with him. His SO, another friend of ours, frankly forgot the fake name I gave her. I think it's Michaela. Basically blamed me for Mal, then getting a lot of heat at work. The update is that they combed his social media and uncovered quite a few unsavory posts. I never knew this, but he's hugely vocally transphobic and homophobic. So, instead of a promotion, he got fired. I had already left the friend group chat by this point, and I had blocked both Mal and Michaela. I was focused on Sam, who was going through the deepest depression I have ever seen him go through, and we've known each other a good chunk of our lives. I helped him find emergency therapy, and he stayed with me for almost a month because he was concerned he would fall back into self-harm. He drank heavily and was spiraling hard, and thankfully, he's now on the other side of it all, but it was terrifying. Neither of us got a lot of sleep during this time, and I called in a bunch at work out of exhaustion, concern, or plain numbness. I caught up with a friend from our old group named DF30 at a place we all frequent a few couple ago, and she told me Mal has told everyone that Sam is a woman IRL and she cosplays as a man. My blood boiled. But then I heard about him being fired and hey, I'm human and fuck him. He hurt my best friend, so in my book he got off really easy. But of course about a week after that I ran into him in Michaela at our local, redacted. I am a creature of habit, that's the store in my community, and I always get groceries on Sundays. Walk across to the Starbucks next door, have a tea and doom scroll for a bit before biking back home. I saw them, they saw me, I avoided them, got my shit, and walked to Starbucks. Mal I guess had stuff to get off his chest, so he ended up there too. He approached me as I waited for my coffee and started on how I stabbed him in the back and stooped low to do so, and now he has no job. He said he might have to move because of the rumors I spread about him and that he is being ostracized. He went on and on belly aching, and this is Starbucks in a pretty liberal freaking city. So I just loudly said, well, that's what happens to transphobes, Mal. No one likes a bigot. Go away. And while he started in on whatever the fuck he was saying, I couldn't hear over the bigoted fuckery. This big dude walks over and tells him to fuck off. Mal is now telling this guy off, and they are tennis balling insults until Mal aggressively points a finger in my face to hurl a racist slur. I know. Like, dude. At least use a shovel to dig yourself deeper. Christ. Leave enough hate for the other half-smoked wet lettuce joint losers out there. Turns out being a racist dickwad trumps being a homophobic twat in this beanery, because that's when people started shouting, and eventually he was just drowned out surrounded by people who seemed to be in need of pitchforks, some holding their phones up to record. I was a forgotten prop, and just sort of drifted back as he was trying to take on a sea of people from our city where we don't take kindly to this bullshit. He left and later sent Sam a paragraphs-long message about how he, Sam, ruined his, Mal's, life because he is masquerading as a man, and if he were a real man, he would face him himself rather than have his bitch me sicked on him. He then went on to say that if he dies from all this stress of being so hated that he is now getting trolled on social media, receiving death threats, and the like, it will be Sam's fault. Mal said he should sue Sam and me both for defamation and lost wages since we started this witch hunt. Today I heard he moved. Sans Michaela. She's still here. Dunno about her situation right now, and don't rightly care. I do know she met with Sam and apologized to him, and he did accept it, but was clear that their friendship is non-existent now. She offered to go to Pride, which is locally happening, and Sam said she is welcome to but not with him. She asked him to please hand me a note she wrote for me, which he did. But I haven't read it and probably won't. As far as I am concerned, she doesn't exist anymore. So that's it. I had forgotten about my post until Sam asked me whatever happened about it, and I was like, oh yeah. And I personally is a lurker hate unresolved stories, so here it is. Here's your bow. That's a wrap. Story 2. Am I the a-hole for laughing when my aunt told my stepmom that being depressive doesn't make you sleep with a married man? Sorry for the long title. I really had no idea what title to explain the situation. My first language is Spanish. Long story short, 2 years ago my father left my mother to go with his mistress, whom I will call Anna. My mother never had any idea about the infidelity. Anna knew that my father was married. She even went to the house with him to take his things. One day he simply told my mother that he is no longer in love with her and wants to be happy with Anna. I was there when everything happened. Anna was depressed. She has many scars on her legs and arms. I don't go to my father's house. It makes me uncomfortable to be around them for obvious reasons. Anna is overly nice, and it's really uncomfortable. A few days ago it was my grandfather's birthday, and the whole family was together, including Anna. I have an aunt who suffers from depression and other more severe things like schizophrenia. She has tried to hurt herself many times. At one point in the night there was only my father, my aunt, Anna, another aunt and I in the living room. For some reason my aunt and Anna were talking about some serious things, and at one point Anna began to say that depression made her do many things trying to feel fulfilled, that she could only overcome depression when she met my father, and he saved her. That meeting him was the key to overcome her depression, and now she's finally happy thanks to him. I know about that because Anna often tried to bond with me by telling me how much she suffered in her life and how my father saved her. She has always justified herself that she was depressed and was in a hard place in her life before my father saved her. Always makes me feel uncomfortable, and I don't feel empathy for her no matter how sweet she is. Talking about how many times you try to kill yourself in front of my 8-year-old sister, it's not something normal. Anna has always tried to paint her relationship with my father as a fairy tale that began in a different way, but that she doesn't regret anything because her world is perfect now. At that moment my aunt said something like, I try to save myself by going to a psychologist, not by jumping on the dick of a married man. And then she began to say that depression made her want to jump off a bridge, but not ruin a family. I just laughed. It was funny. My aunt may have her mind elsewhere all day, but it was crazy to see her make such a sly comment. But when my father was taking me home, Anna was crying and he scolded me for laughing at what my aunt said, saying that no one knows everything that Anna suffered. I know. She always talks about that. I didn't apologize, but now I think, was I really wrong to laugh? From my point of view, my aunt was right. Update 1. Hello. Some things happened over the weekend. My aunt came home. I live with my mother, and told my mom what happened. My mother hates my dad for obvious reasons, but still she's been really nice to him and try to keep us out of all those problems they have. My mother is honestly a saint. My sister is an 8-year-old girl, and she really hates Anna. Anna once tried to get along with my sister and told her about the time she wanted to commit suicide and how my dad saved her. After that my sister came home asking my mother if she had ever thought about committing suicide. That's not a question an 8-year-old girl should ask, and my sister even asked me questions about suicide after that. I don't really know what else exactly Anna said to her, but it definitely affected her as a little girl. It's not even something you should talk about with a girl of that age. My mother was furious, and since that day she forbids my father to have my younger sister near Anna, as she considers her a dangerous and unstable person around children. Since that day things have been really tense between my father and my mother. My little sister doesn't want to visit our father, so she is fine with this. My aunt told my mother that Anna talked about it again, but this time in front of me. Apparently my father and Anna were totally forbidden to talk about these things in front of me too. I'm not a little kid, but apparently that was the arrangement my mother made with my father when she set boundaries for them. My aunt told her what happened that day, and I confessed to my mother that Anna and my father talk a lot about those suicide attempts in front of me, which is something I should have talked about before, but at that moment I didn't want problems and decided to just ignore them. I told my mom that for that reason I am not going to my father's house anymore, and my mother got very upset with him. The next day she wanted to talk to my father. I don't know what they talked about. She just came back saying that Anna can't get close to us anymore. She told me that she can't forbid me from being near my father, and that's my decision, but Anna is extremely forbidden to set foot in the same place where I and my sister are. My paternal grandparents agreed, and my aunts too. They knew about the situation with my younger sister. I haven't spoken to my father, but my cousin told me that my father argued with my grandfather. He often says that Anna is a good person and we don't understand the pain she suffered. So I guess he's upset with all of us now for our great lack of empathy, as he always says. I don't know. At least now I won't see them for a while. It was a boring update, but that's what happened, haha. Update 2. Hi. I wasn't planning to make another update, but we've had a lot of problems with Anna. Too many, and I think now even my father has realized that she's crazy. I have stopped going to see my father, and my father's parents stopped allowing him to go with Anna to their house since I am there a lot, and my mother does not allow her to come near me or my sister. Anna began to have the strange behavior of starting to send me texts. First she apologized to me, but insisted that my father misses me and my sister. I replied to her that my mother does not allow us to talk to her, and she said that she is my father's partner, so we have to get used to her being around. She started to talk badly about my mother, saying that I'm too young to realize it, but my mother is manipulating us, and that's wrong because she's not allowing us to be a family. I'm young, but I'm not dumb. I didn't answer her again, and showed the messages to my mother, who spoke to my father again. My father knew nothing about this and apparently had an argument with Anna about this, since now my mother is planning to take away his last name from our name to end this shit show and protect us. I don't understand too much about this, but in my country you can go to court and take out your father's surname, making him have no right over you anymore. I honestly believe that neither my sister nor I would have any problem with this, but I think my mother just said that to scare him. This is something I heard from my aunt, and I don't know how much of this is real, but my father has been staying at my grandparents' house. One of those nights Anna went to knock on the door looking for him just to argue. She and my father began to argue. Anna yelled at my dad that he couldn't leave her like that, but nothing else happened because my grandfather kicked her out. My aunt also told me that my father told her that Anna sends him messages like, "If you leave me I will kill myself. You can't leave me." So my father is afraid of leaving her and afraid of her. Less than 2 days ago I found out that my father had to leave work quickly because she sent him goodbye messages. Nothing happened to her. She just cut her arms as always. My aunt said that this is something that Anna has always done. Even when the affair started she sent him messages saying that she was about to commit suicide so that my father would go to her. This is something that Anna also told me, but in a more romantic way. It always scared me. I have no contact with my father and I avoid him when he's at Grandpa's house, but as far as my aunt has told me, he doesn't know what to do since he misses us but is afraid to leave her and that she will kill herself. I feel bad for thinking this, but I'm really relieved to be hearing all this from afar. I'm so thankful that my mom forbade us to see her before all this happened. And honestly this is his karma, so I'm not going to get into this.